Jams, jams, jams. Picture books and jams. Welcome, everybody, to PBJamz. Music and picture books.
Good morning or afternoon, whenever it is that you are joining us for this episode of PBJamz. I am so happy to welcome really who I consider a friend. Matt and I have had so many interactions over the last couple of years. It started when I won a story walk of his book, Once Upon Another Time, which is a delightful book. And then he came and talked to my students in Writers Club. So we've had a lot of interactions, but this is the first time that he's been with me on PBJamz. So I'm stoked to talk with Matt today about his book, Tractor Dance. Welcome, Matt.
Oh, welcome. Yeah, and when I found out, that you're doing PB Jams, I'm part of a group of authors and illustrators called PB Jamboree on Instagram, and so
Right.
we're sharing what we're doing. So the PB and J, we got to support each other.
That's
We
right. Absolutely.
got to spread it around. Ha ha.
Spread. Yeah, I see what you did there. Yeah, absolutely.
What's the
Got to
point of
spread the love. Yeah, gotta spread the love. Well, so this book, Tractor Dance, is actually a board book, and it came out, was it October of
Yep,
last year?
yep.
Yeah,
First week of October, 2024.
yeah, and illustrated by Jen Taylor, correct?
Yep.
And this one came out from Susan, is it Susan Schott
Oh,
Press?
Susan Chat Press. Yep.
Susan Schott. Okay, excellent. Yes, such a cute board book. So talk to us about the inspiration and anything you might want us to know about kind of the journey arc of this particular story.
So it's a very unusual book for me because I don't self-publish. So I am a traditionally published author. I submit my manuscripts to publishing companies that are known around the country and around the world. And when you do that, you hope that they like the manuscript. If they do, then they work up a contract. They pay you in advance, and they find the illustrator and they put it together. If they don't, then you just keep sending it out to different publishers until somebody wants to get it. So this is a very different kind of book. So this book board book actually was contracted with a company that is Rainstorm Publishing, which is a division of Kids Books Publishing, big national company, and they do a lot of board books, a lot of books for really young kids. And they're the ones who had published my board book, Elliot, the Heart-Shaped Frog.
Right.
They liked what I did, and so I did some copy editing for them as well. I did kind of random things. I wrote a few board books. There's two of my board books that came out last year. Look, What Fun, You're One, and Look at You, You're Two. There are these tiny little board books for little kids. So I did those, and they had asked me several years ago. It was probably 2019. I think it was shortly before COVID. One of their editors said, they'd really like to have a book about anthropomorphic farm equipment, like just some kind of fun board book. That was pretty much all they said. So I got thinking about it and came up with the idea for Tractor Dance, a bunch of farm equipment, the tractor and the combine and the plow, and everybody just having a big dance party after the sun goes down, once the farmer's asleep. And so I wrote up the manuscript. They loved it. They Rainstorm Publishing they contracted Jen Taylor to do all the illustrations. So the whole thing was done, PDF complete, ready to go to the printer. And the parent company said they were doing a lot of pairing, I guess due to COVID. They were doing a lot of pairing of titles. They said, we're not going to release it.
Oh,
And so it was like, and it was a work for hire, which was a kind of unusual thing. But I do work for hire if somebody wants to hire me. And so this was technically a work for hire. So I had written this story that I had no rights to, and the book was all done, but it would never be a book. It was just dead in the water. So I suggested to the fellow in charge of the publishing company, Link Beardall. I said, well, and they had purchased like three other manuscripts of mine. So Elliot, Tractor Dance, and then three others. I said,
wow.
I can't submit these because you bought them, but if you're not going to make them into books, you've lost money. So I said, well, how about this? How about I provide some work for you in the amount of what you paid me? So I'll do editing work or writing or whatever you need me to do. I'll do that. in exchange for getting the rights back to my manuscripts and the art and everything for Tractor Dance. We'll just do an even trade. I'll write, I'll edit, I'll do some work for you. You give me the stuff back. That way you're not losing all the money, and I have the manuscripts back and I can pitch them. He said that sounds like a great idea. So that's what we did. So I ended up getting the rights to back, the rights back to my story, but I also got rights to the artwork because they had paid for it outright. And so then I ended up needing to find a publisher to put this together. So Susan Chat Press is they are what they call themselves an artisan hybrid. So they publishers. So we work together. I paid them to help put this thing together because I don't self-publish. I don't understand the formatting thing. I don't do Ingram distribution. Like I don't do that. I'm an author. So they handle all that, and they're very particular about the manuscripts they pay. Like they don't just take everybody and anybody who wants to self-publish. They are a hybrid publisher, but they are picky. And so Susan and Lauren, her second in charge, they've really been helpful in putting this together. So we worked with them, and it became a book first week of October.
Nice.
So, like I said, it's a little bit longer story than you were probably expecting, but it's not a typical story. Like people either traditionally publish, or they work for hire, or they self-publish. But this is sort of a little bit of all of those.
Right. But I think that's one thing that I'm finding as I do these is that there are so many paths to publication, and no two stories are the same. And there are so many stories that are, not just cut and dry like that. So, but that is a very interesting story. And I mean, what a way to rally back, and good thinking on your part, which I know you're a very good thinker anyway. I mean, you've done such good work for yourself without having an agent, and you're up to how many books now? Is it 12?
Yeah, my 12th book just came out last week, which was well, depending on when people see this, it was April 1st that it came out. Universe of Rainbows, which is a poetry anthology. I've been part of a lot of poetry anthologies, but this is the first one that I've actually anthologized. So it's like my poetry anthology. So that's number 12. I've got two more on the way that are under. Well, one's under contract. One's going to soon be under contract, and then who knows what else comes.
Yeah. So we know you're a good thinker and good at looking out for yourself because you've had to be. So that's great. So let's talk a little bit more in detail about the music in this book. Where's the music in this book? Let's talk about that.
Well, it's a board book, so it's for really little kids, and I wanted it to be bouncy. And sometimes rhyming picture books, depending on the age, sometimes rhyme can be too sing-song, too the cadence is too much.
Right.
But it's all about creating a mood, and so there are different rhyme schemes and different meters, different rhythms that you can use. You mentioned Once Upon Another Time. That you saw when they put up the story walk. That is a very, very different type of rhyming picture book. It's very, I don't want to say it's slow, but it's not a bouncy cadence. Right. It's not that. The rhyme kind of helps create a mood, and this does too, but in a different way. So this is bouncy. It's fun. It's supposed to be dance music. It's a bouncy kind of thing. And when you open it up, it mentions how when laughter turns to dreams, the frogs and crickets come out to play. And throughout the book, you see all the animals. The frogs are playing the banjo, and the crickets are harmonizing, and all the farm animals are dancing along. And so you see each page has the animals playing their music, and the farm equipment is dancing and having fun. And so that's the whole point of this type of meter. The bounciness of it. That's what we want. And kids that age, if they don't know how to read, they're just barely reading. And so having that cadence, that bounce, they can expect that rhythm helps them to expect how, they may not know what the words are, but they can expect the rhythm. They can expect, the flow of what comes next. And so, that's why you do it this way.
Right. And there's several dance terms mentioned in there too, right? You talk about some different types of dances.
Yeah, because we mentioned how everybody's ready to go to sleep. Out behind the silo and by the barn. It's hoedown time. Um, and so tractor kicks up his wheels and does a little jig. Yeah, kids can turn the pages more easily than I can. But then you've got the balers promenading with the seed drill rig.
Yeah,
Backhoe practices ballet, so there's a little bit of alliteration there that I deliberately put in
sure.
ballet. Backhoe practices ballet, turns a pirouette. Sprayer does a shimmy shake and gets poor wagon wet. Combine likes her country with a little southern drawl. Plow prefers a polka, and tractor loves it all.
Yeah.
And then at the end, at the very end, we're following these the farm equipment through the night. They're just having a fun time at night, and it mentions how as the morning comes and the sun starts to rise, the chickens start scratching for corn, everybody starts waking up. They just can't. Everybody starts to doze off, but not for long because they hear a brand new song when where is it when the farmer shows up. He's whistling his tune.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
music all night, but now there's music during the day too.
Right, right. And that's a great message to give to kids. Like there's music everywhere you look and everywhere if you listen,
Yeah,
there's music. Yeah,
yeah.
and I love all that little terminologies that's in there, the hoedown and the jig and the pirouette and the ballet. So
Right. These
it's
are these are words that are they're bigger than a 3-year-old is going to understand. But as you're reading it, you can tell them these are different types of dances, and they're
right,
fun. They're fun words, and they
they
they may
are.
you might remember one or two as a vocabulary word, but it's a fun
It's
book for
it's
it's a read.
exposure though. Yeah, you're exposing them to some really rich vocabulary even
Yeah,
at this young age, which is super important. Yeah, that's so fun. Love it.
thank
So
you.
what is something, Matt, about this book that as parents or teachers, preschool teachers, as they're sharing this book, what is something that you hope they don't miss? Like something that you hope they see and they point out to the kids or they notice? What
Well,
is
I
that?
hope that they point out the vocab words. That
Uh-huh.
that they're a polka has a little bit of a different kind of bounce to it than a ballet or something like that. But if you pay close attention on each page, there are specific animals showing up making their sounds. The cricket over here, you can see the little musical notes. There's I can't remember if it's well, you get the frogs if they're
Uh-huh.
cats, because that's country music. Um, the cat playing the concertina. There's all these different so I hope that they pick out these little things. I don't mention anything about
Right.
frogs plucking the banjos and little kitty cats playing concertinas, but Jen included those because it's a nice little backstory. It adds to the enjoyment of the story. So I hope they take some time and kind of they look for the things in the book that I don't mention.
Right. Right. Those little unexpected
Right,
touches.
that's half the book.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Well, right. When you have a board book, I mean, there's only so many words and so many pages. So yeah, it is fun to have those little
Yeah.
illustrative special touches.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Even picture books. A really good picture book. It's
of
going to be half
course.
pictures and half words. Like with my book Flashlight Night. If anyone has ever seen Flashlight Night, the story is about three kids that go outside to their backyard and they have an adventure in the backyard, just using their imagination and the flashlight. And the entire story is told within the beam of the flashlight. So, like outside, the darkness is all just normal reality, their backyard, the pool, the deck. But within the beam of the flashlight, that's where the entire story takes place. And that
Mhm.
wasn't even my idea. That was the
Right.
illustrator's idea. Fred Kaler, he came up with that. So, he is literally telling his
Yeah.
story at the same time I'm telling mine. And
Yeah.
that's what a really good book does.
That's right. That's true. No matter what form it is, I think I've told you this, but my husband is such a big fan of that book. Like he's used it with his seventh graders, and he's done writing activities with it, and he just really loves that book. We've got a couple of copies of it, and he loves it. We're big Matt Forrest Esenwine fans up in this house. So so many great books. And that's a perfect segue into talking. And I know you mentioned earlier that you just had a brand new book come out, this anthology, Universe of Rainbows. Um, and so what else do you have, or talk more about that if you want to, or what else is on the horizon? You alluded to the fact you have a couple more maybe coming, or if you have events. So this is going to post April 17th and 24th. So anything after that that you think people might want to catch you at, just basically catch us up on the world of Matt and what's happening.
Cool. Well, yeah, I've got a couple of bookstore visits that I'll be doing within the local area. I'm going to be at on the 19th. I'm going to be at Toadstool Books in Peterborough, New Hampshire. April 26th, the morning of, I believe, I'm going to be at Innisfree Bookshop in Meredith, New Hampshire, in the Lakes region, right by Lake Winnipesaukee. And then May 17th, I'll be in downtown Warner, New Hampshire, for their Spring into Warner downtown event, which is a lot of fun, big event, and I'll be at the bookstore for that. And Jamie Kristoff, our illustrator for the Universe of Rainbows, this anthology, he's here in New Hampshire too, so he's going to be joining me.
Oh, nice.
All those too. We're trying to do as many events as possible, and we're going to be doing some library visits. I usually do about 12 to 15 library visits during the course of the summer, so that'll be keeping me busy. As far as the other two books that are on the way, so the Universe of Rainbows, that's the poetry anthology, which covers not just rainbows like you would think of as rainbows, but there's the rainbow lorikeet and the rainbow fish and a rainbow eucalyptus trees and the peacock mantis shrimp and
Oh, yeah.
vinicunca, which is known as Rainbow Mountain, or Talis, the river of five colors, like all these different, and the Rainbow Nebula. So there's 22 poems about all these different rainbows that you might not even know about from Eerdmans Books for Young Readers. And I had an excellent time working with their editor, Kathleen Mers, and the entire crew. They're a great publisher to work with. They also have another anthology of mine coming out. It's probably going to be another 3 or 4 years before we see it, but we're working together on another one already,
Fun.
and then another publisher with another anthology I can't really talk about, but they're on the way. That one we're hoping for 2028.
Okay. All right.
So it'll be a little while, but I'll be contributing to a couple of different anthologies between now and then too. The folks putting them together. Nikki Grimes is working on a couple of books that I'm contributing to, and somebody else is working on one. I can't even remember who it is. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting who you are. But there's at least 3 or 4 books between now and then that I'll be a part of.
Yeah.
But being unagented, you keep subbing and you just keep hoping for the best.
Of course. Yeah. Well, you've had such, I would say good luck, but there's always an element of luck, whether you're agented or unagent, no matter what. Like I always say like it's a cosmic event when somebody gets a book deal because the stars have to just align just right. It has to be the right book for the right person at the right time. But but for sure when you're unagented, you have to kind of take a little more control of those stars than some of the rest of us maybe do. So
I was just going to say, like, that's what I tell new folks who are trying to get published. Just because a publisher doesn't like your manuscript, it doesn't mean your manuscript sucks. It means maybe it's a dinosaur book. Well, maybe they just published a couple of dinosaur books.
Right.
Maybe they don't like rhyming books. Maybe they only do nonfiction. Maybe who knows what. Maybe it does need work, but that's only one possible reason. There's a whole slew of. I know an agent who doesn't like first person stories.
Right.
She doesn't even know why. She doesn't know why she doesn't like first person stories. I mean, what are you going to do about that? That's just the way they are.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to keep subbing, like that Once Upon Another Time that we did the story walk for you. That went through 24 rejections.
Right.
Before Steaming Books picked it up. And my book, The Thing to Remember About Stargazing from Tilbury House, that came out about a year and a half ago, the previous October, the October before Tractor Dance. That went through 25 rejections. So 49 rejections for just 2 picture books. You got to stick with it. You have to. If I gave up after 22 rejections, I wouldn't
those things wouldn't be a book. Yeah. And they're beautiful books, both of those. I have both of those books as well as Flashlight Night. So we're getting, like I said, quite the collection here. I
Nice.
do before I love your books, and we both do. But before we leave, before we wrap up, I do want to give you a chance to shout out about your Poetry Fridays and your. Are you still doing the video series? Is it Wit and Wisdom?
Wit and wordplay.
That
I
one.
tried, and once COVID sort of backed off and things started opening up, I actually signed the contract for the A Universe of Rainbows, this anthology that came out April 1st. I signed the contract in April of 2020, like at the height of COVID, which was like this little bright rainbow of hope, in the middle of COVID. But as COVID started kind of getting back and things started opening up, schools started opening up, they started having more author visits. I just couldn't keep up with it. So I haven't done any new ones. I would like to. I would love to be able to keep doing it. But I'm writing. I'm doing all my own submissions. I do voiceover work as well, so I've got voiceover clients. And I'm a stay-at-home dad. So I've got kids and 6 dogs and 4 cats and 15 chickens and a whole bunch of other things I got to take care of. Like,
there's only so much time, and there's only so much Matt. Yeah.
And I like to. I would like to do more, but just again, only so much time. So maybe I'll start them up again at some. Not anytime in the near future, unfortunately.
I gotcha. Well, you had several of those. And so if you guys haven't checked that out, that's one of the things that I'm going to link up below for you guys. And also, you are still doing the Poetry Friday. And is that an every Friday thing?
Yep, every Friday. So when I started my blog in 2012, I left full-time employment to be a stay-at-home dad. And we realized I wasn't making any money. I was in radio. I was overseeing commercial production for 8 radio stations. I was on the air as well. And if you subtract daycare for 2 kids that weren't in school yet, and just my commuting gas, not even weekend, just commuting gas and daycare, I was netting $150 a month.
Wow.
Yeah, making $35,000 a year with 20 years experience and a college degree. And I said, this is just not working. So we decided to stay at home. I could be a stay-at-home dad, and I was doing voiceover work at the time. So I would work on the voiceover work business, and I would try to figure out, how do you get children's poems published, because that was how I even got into this. I wasn't even planning on writing picture books. I had children's poems I'd written. I just wanted to figure out how to get them published, and now here I am. But yeah, so you never know where life's gonna lead you.
Yeah, so you guys check out the Poetry Friday blog, and like I said, I'll link all that below for you. Matt has so many irons in the fire, but they're all worthwhile and lovely. And if you've missed any of his other books, make sure you check those out, as well as the one we've talked about today, which is Tractor Dance, which is super fun for every little farmer in your world, or anybody who knows a little boy or little girl who loves getting their hands dirty or loves that farm equipment. It's right on target for them. Yeah.
I love the fact that, it's my book. Obviously, I like it, but I love the fact that it really does. It covers a lot of things that young kids like. It's got talking farm equipment. It's got animals. It's got music and dancing, and it's got a whole lot of fun that just about any kid would appreciate. So, and it's been doing well too. So I'm very pleased.
I'm so glad. Good. Well, hopefully this will give it a little boost. And for you guys to give Matt a little boost, give him a review on Barnes & Noble, Amazon, or Goodreads. Share it out with some friends that you know would enjoy it. Do a request at your library, either your school library or your public library. And check out all Matt's socials, and let people know about all of his amazing books.
I appreciate that. Todd, you are just so awesome. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Well, the feeling's quite mutual, trust me. So thank you so much for being here today. It's been such fun chatting with you, and wishing you all the best with Tractor Dance and Universe of Rainbows, which I look forward to reading. I haven't had a chance to read that one yet, but I know I'm going to love it too.
I hope so. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. Thank you guys for being here too. And we will see you next time on PBJamz. All right.
Jams, jams, jams. Picture books and jams. Welcome, everybody, to PBJamz. Music and picture books. What a perfect sandwich. Squish them all together. What a yummy snack. bookish songs, tips for music teachers, interviews and book reviews, a little singing and dancing. PBJamz, yummy books and music. PBJamz, reading, writing, teaching. PBJamz, what a yummy treat. Jamming PBs all the time. PBJamz, jams, jams, jams. Picture books and jams.